Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to a new episode of the RSL show on KSL Sports. We're here to talk about an amazing result against Sporting Kansas City. My name's Andy Munoz. I'm here with Josh Clark and Alex. What did you love about this result in KC?
Obviously, 3 points. That's the biggest thing, first and foremost. Gomez having the season that he's having is fantastic. Those passes from Diego Luna, phenomenal. A lot to love in this game.
I loved that we ruined Cavincio's birthday more than anything. And honestly, I love that SKC wasn't the team that broke our streak. And just what an entertaining result. What an entertaining game.
A lot of Real Salt Lake matches have been pretty entertaining, but this one I think took the cake because it was almost every goal going back and forth. Obviously, we saw a lot of defensive mistakes or blunders or hesitations, or we really paid for it in the back end of this match. But going into this, Alex, how did you feel about RSL's defense? Were you worried? Did you feel like people were going to step up?
Yes and no. I think that last result against Montreal defensively was good. You're on the road, across the border in Canada, and you put in a pretty good shift defensively, even without Justin Glad. And so coming into this one against Kansas, I'm not necessarily worried, but I think after the game we're having a different conversation.
100%. As entertaining as that match was, I have gripes and fears going forward.
Yeah, especially with Vera being ruled out, I believe, for
Yes.
Galaxy. So that's going to be interesting. There were just a lot of gaps defensively, right? So let's pull it back. Let's go to the beginning of the match. Do we just want to start right into the goal, or do we want to discuss lineup first?
I think, honestly, I think the lineup's strong enough on its own that I don't think we need to get into it too much. So I say let's just get into the goals.
Let's do it. The goals brought to you by nobody. Sorry, I'm a little sick. Hang on. Before we get started, before we get going, Jake Simons, shout out to baby. We don't know the first name. I think the middle name is Glenn. He had a baby boy yesterday during the match, kind of, or prior to the match.
Yeah, a great birthday present for baby boy Jake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby boy or Jake's baby boy. Is it named Jake?
I have no idea. I think it's just Glenn, but I could be entirely wrong.
Yeah, so RSL show people just slamming out babies. We'll see who's next. It's going to be a roulette wheel. Alex, I feel like you're going to pop out the next kid, dude. Be careful. Let's talk about Real Salt Lake. So what did we like going into this first goal, the build-up? Andres Gomez, 14th minute goal. What did we like about this one?
The build-up, man. Just beautiful team soccer all the way around. And then the individual skill and the speed. Just there's so many things to like about it.
It was a good read in the middle of the field for Luna to intercept that ball and then just quickly get it up, and to have the knowledge and the awareness and the vision to see Gomez running in behind that defense and just slots in a beautiful through pass between a defender and Gomez. Gomez running off of it, puts it into the back of the net. It's fantastic no matter which way you look at it. Luna setting that up, brilliant.
That ball from Luna is almost better than the goal.
In this case, yes, I would agree.
The skill to put that in between the two defenders, the perfect weight on it to match Gomez's speed, just everything about that ball was immaculate.
Yeah, during this match, we were commenting on how exciting the ball movement and the play was, even with different pieces. This is a really exciting team to watch. It's something that we've been waiting for a very long time, and this is just a Real Salt Lake that I haven't really seen before in seasons prior, or even, I would say, early on in the season. Right now, we've got the 15 unbeaten streak, and it's just a team that looks completely different. Why do we think Real Salt Lake has it figured out? Why do we think we're playing so good right now?
To kind of piggyback what you just said there, there's no RSL team that has been this entertaining. Not the 2009, not the 2013. This team on an entirely different level. And you got to give a lot of credit to the young talent that has been brought in. It's young, exciting talent, and there's no other way around it. You're bringing in guys that could potentially go to the Premier League, right? You're bringing in guys that are going to be stars for the national team. You're not bringing in journeymen that may turn good, right, or may come good. You're bringing in really, really, really young, high caliber players, and then that's what we've been dying for. And then to cherry on top, and we didn't even see this guy until the second half, you bring in a veteran goal scorer that just does whatever he wants on the field, it seems. So it's just a perfect storm of attacking talent and midfield talent. The midfield talent to me it's been the biggest difference in this team because it's giving those attackers the freedom to do what they need to do and get these goals.
I just don't understand how you have a player like Diego Luna and you leave him off the United States roster. It's just it's mind-boggling.
Yeah.
It is. It really is, and that's probably why U.S. Soccer will always just flatline. I'm sorry, Josh.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you, right? It's weird roster decisions and weird coaching decisions, but that's a different topic.
I do also want to point out Luna's performances since that decision was made. He's not to say that he was not good before, but his performances have been so much better as a nice way of saying, hey, you should take me to Paris. And I love it. And I love it because obviously it's paying dividends for Real Salt Lake.
And maybe that's why, the coach of the Olympic team left him off, is to see that spark get lit, right? And then he can throw him on for the Olympic squad. Or no, because the final Olympic squad hasn't been announced, right? Just
no,
the camp?
not out yet. That preliminary roster was just for the couple of friendlies to tune up for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's making it very hard to justify being left off at this moment.
100%.
Yeah.
So maybe it was a calculated move. And if it was, thanks, I guess.
Could be. Maybe. Back to what you were saying about the young talent, the young guys. Another young talent that has massively stepped up in the shoes of Zach McMath. Gavin Beavers. We're just going to kind of roll through. It's 1-0 right now. Ojeda comes in pretty hard into the box. We watched the replay. There was nothing there. It seemed like it was ball first. The referees award the penalty, probably one of the worst questionable penalties to be rewarded. Johnny Russell steps up to take the PK, and it's inevitably blocked by Gavin Beavers. But before we talk about the block, what were the emotions going through when you guys saw that PK awarded? Because it was so clear that he had gone to the ball first before taking the SKC player down.
In situations like this, I wish we had some kind of media availability with the referee. I have a genuine question of what are you supposed to do? What can you do in that situation? You're running, you're full sprinting towards the ball. You get in between the ball and the attacker. You get the ball, but your momentum's already coming into Johnny Russell or whoever it was. Was it Tommy or Russell? Can't remember.
It was Tommy.
But there's nothing you can do to avoid that collision. I have no idea why that penalty did not go to VAR. Because if it would have gone to VAR, and if the video assistant referee would have been in the ear of that official, and maybe they go to the monitor, he sees that, but it's a wild call to me. It's a very questionable penalty to me.
Well, not only that, but how long did it take them to go forward and proceed? Right? 'Cause clearly, there were discussions being had. How are we not seeing this, guys? This to me is a VAR failure for sure. Because, like Alex said, what are you supposed to do? You won the ball. Sure, the guy got wiped out, but you won the ball. That's all you got to do. There was no malicious intent. There was, anywho, a very obnoxious penalty. But we got Big Gav.
Mm-hmm. Also want to point out that Ojeda's head was at the ball the entire time. Not once did he look at his man, like Josh mentioned, to even have the intent of fouling. His eyes were on the ball the entire time, and that should also negate the PK. But I digress.
Yeah, just an atrocious call, in my opinion.
What could compel the referees to make that bad of a call? What do you guys think it is? If you had to just take a guess.
Ego.
Yeah, I can see that. That referee, made the decision, and he says, hey, my decision is what I called, and this is what's right.
Super, super rough. All right, so longtime Real Salt Lake villain, Johnny Russell, steps up. But how satisfying was it to see Gavin Beavers come up big, guess right, well, in this case, his left, and make that save?
Oh, it just felt so good. Nothing to me is better than watching the very few fans in that stadium be as sad as they were.
It's amazing to see, a young guy like Gavin, who we have been so high on for the last couple of months, since he really got into the rotation last season, to come up and make a penalty save in that moment. And good on Gavin for doing his homework and looking into the penalty takers, because Johnny Russell's had one PK so far this season and he put it in the same spot. So shout out Gavin for doing your homework.
How great is the fact that he had them all written down on his water bottle and Johnny Russell had it in his hand?
There you go.
He's going to be checking every water bottle from now on when he takes PKs, that's for sure.
So, 28th minute. If I'm missing anything, you guys interrupt me. But we've got Stephen Afrifa. It's a tough shot, but in reality, when you've got defenders surrounding you, you would think there'd be more pressure.
I mean, I would venture to say that all of SKC's goals were given up fairly easy by RSL. So it's frustrating, right? And I think that was one of the first moments you could really be like, oh man, I miss Glad, right? I think the midfield could have done better in this situation. Gomez was kind of confused about his positioning and where he needed to be defensively. This first goal is kind of a lucky one. It reminded me a lot of like a goal Demir would score, right? Just kind of pulling it out of nothing, getting a shot off while falling down. It sneaks in. So for that first one, it was like, bummer, but I'm not worried at this point at all.
When you're falling down like that, your momentum's kind of leaving you as you're hitting the ground. So for him to be able to have enough momentum to sneak it past Gavin, it's a good shot. But yeah, like Andy and Josh mentioned, defensively it has to be better. There's not a lot of pressure to close down the space. There's not a lot of pressure to make sure that he can't get the shot off. But I mean, before that, Kansas was kind of building themselves into the game. They were getting more pressure on that RSL back line. And that's when you kind of started seeing the shakiness of that defense.
Did the nerves start to sink in? For me, it was later in the game with the 1-1. I know, Josh, you just said that you weren't too worried. Alex, what about you, man? Were you worried?
With the way that they've been playing, not concerned. It does get a little bit more concerning once you look down and you're 3-2, right? That's late in the second half. That's when it gets a little bit more concerning. But at this point, full confidence in our offense.
And let us not forget, this isn't our quote-unquote full-strength squad, right? Mm-hmm. So in the back of my head, I'm like, okay, like if we slip a little bit in the first half, we have the big guns that can come in the second half and take care of business. That's where my head's at.
Cool. So we move on to, I believe, the 32nd minute. Diego Luna, again, midfield, fires off a pass up to Anderson Julio. Anderson Julio just launches, dude. I don't even know how to really say it any other way. Just like throws on the Jets, is onside for once, beats the defense, and he goes one-on-one with the keeper and does a beautiful little chip.
I mean, I think you hit it right on the head with he was onside.
I don't know who this guy is.
He's a man on fire.
I don't know who he is. It's not the Julio that we're used to seeing. And we always talk about how great he is as a super sub, but he's been starting a lot this year and he's been living up to it. He's been fantastic in every way, shape, and form so far this year for Julio. I mean, obviously the offsides can, be cleaned up, but still Julio's been fantastic this season for Real Salt Lake.
And he really does seem to be cleaning that up. So, because the more he cleans it up, the better we get. And
absolutely.
We're obviously on a tear, so.
I realized his celebration just wasn't like what you would expect, so I wonder if he's so used to being called offside that it kind of hinders the excitement until they call it good. But man, I love to see that from Real Salt Lake, whether it's that or whether it's Anderson Julio just doing his job, going up 2-1 and not much of a celebration, knowing that the game is nowhere near over. It just gives this whole different feeling to Real Salt Lake, a much more mature touch where it's like, okay, we're not going to celebrate this early on. We're only up 1 goal. Let's go secure the job. Am I crazy? Do you guys feel this way at all?
No, I completely agree. And this is jumping forward a little bit, but it's on the same note as what you're talking about is, typically when you get a big win away from home, you're celebrating it in the game, but if you recall to when the whistle blew, guys just fell over on the field, right? They were tired. They worked hard. They kind of got put through the ringer. And I think they're taking this as like a learning experience where, we may have taken our opponent too lightly and we learned from it. And that was a tough game. So, I think them not, getting too crazy with celebrations early on was a sign of the mental grit and determination they had for the rest of the game, even though they did slip up a few times.
The last thing I want to say about this goal too is I think the game plan in this one, especially specifically in that first half, RSL executed fantastically, because if in this goal specifically, it starts off a goal kick. The goal kick goes shorts to Quinton. Quinton plays it out wide to Oviedo. Oviedo into Anelli. Anelli into Luna, and then through to Julio, just like that. That's what, 5 passes? 6 passes?
Decisive passes, though.
Usually with this Real-like attack that we've seen so far this year, it's been slow, it's been methodical at times, but it's been very possession-based. And in this case, you literally go from one end of the field, you shoot it up to the next, and you're in behind. And I think that's kind of good recognition from the coaching staff and from the players to see that Kansas is going to allow you this much space in the middle of the park. If you look at the way that midfield was set up, they were so uncompact. There was miles and miles of acres of space in that middle of the park, and Real did a fantastic job of exploiting it in that first half, and we see it on this second goal.
I mean, we really see it on all 4.
True.
Right? Kansas City came into this game not wanting to lose, right? And they were putting everything they had forward. And it led to some shaky times, especially building out of the back, but knowing that we could just punish them like that was crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, there were so many opportunities in this one, and it's fun to see the dynamic between Diego, Andres Gomez, and Anderson Julio, because it feels like Diego can get the ball to either side, and then either side is just as equally as reliable. In the 43rd minute, let's talk about that buildup where Diego Luna finds a break. He's wide open with space in the middle, and he just lays it off to Andres Gomez, and then Andres Gomez, rather than take a shot and be selfish, goes for like the 1-2 pass back to Diego. Diego takes a little bit of a deflection, goes right into the keeper, comes back to his feet, and unfortunately, it goes a little wide. How crazy would that have been if that had gone in? Because this is what I love. Like, this is what I love to see, and this is what's different. And I'm so upset and just so sad for Diego, because that would have just been an amazing goal to come back and get 6 minutes later.
Absolutely. Again, beautiful interplay between the team. And honestly, this is one of those situations where we're so dynamic that Gomez had that option, right? I would have been fine if Gomez would have been selfish there as well. And that's what's crazy is he had two solid options. And where, in RSLs of past, it was like, well, he's got to shoot this because no one's, making up that secondary run. If he passes to that far post, no one's there. So the fact that we have numbers crash in the box and the guy receiving the ball in a good position could also take the shot, it's so dangerous. But yeah, I also wish that, because that, that ball into Luna, when Luna puts his foot on that to redirect it, that had some pace.
In a lot of those situations, the keeper either bites to the near post or bites to the far post. And I think Melia kind of cheated to the far post before the pass was even there. So I would have loved to see Gomez just strike that at the near post, because that probably would have gone in. And you were 3-1 before the break. But again, I love that the awareness of the team, the awareness of I want to get my guy a goal. So I absolutely love it that Gomez played it to Luna, and I just wish that would have gone in, because that would have been such a nice goal with the build up.
So let's jump up to the 50th minute. We go away for halftime, and there's plenty to talk about. We're 2-1. I feel like everyone is optimistic, at least on the Twitter side, on the social media side. We're feeling good. We love what we're seeing in the text message chat groups that we're a part of. Everyone's loving what they see from Real Salt Lake, right? We're all happy. In fact, I remember I was going to go for a bike ride on the second half and just kind of listen in. And I was like, no, this is too good of a match. I got to stay put and watch. And I feel like a lot of almost the entire fan base would feel that way. So we go to the 50th minute, and remind me, did we run substitutions at the half?
Yep.
Let's go ahead and cover those real quick, and then let's talk about the goal that happened in the 50th minute, again involving the 3 that we've been talking about, Julio, Gomez, and Diego. So let's talk about the subs real quick. Did we like the subs? I'm happy with the substitution patterns these days because it feels like we're so deep. Even though in some areas we're not, it feels deep.
They're coming at the proper time, right? Whereas in the past, we would have waited till the 85th minute, and at that point, it's pointless, right? So, yeah, I'm all about these subs. Clearly, it was a planned rotation. And, I mean, if you have Chicho Arango coming onto the pitch in the second half, like, what is going on, right? That alone is enough to strike fear into your opponent and make him shaky going forward.
And I think his first touch was like a shot on goal with power.
Yep.
Clearly we're happy. But in the past, remember how much turbulence there was versus the substitution patterns and the questionable moves. So, yeah, what are your feelings, man?
They make sense. You pull off Brody, who's played a lot of minutes so far this year, and you bring on Bodie, kind of get some players some rotation before Saturday. Obviously, when you have the luxury of giving Chicho rest, you got to give him some rest because he has also been playing a lot. And so, I mean, yeah, good substitutions to bring on when you're up 2-1. You bring on your top goal scorer and a solid defender who I've been very impressed with so far this year. So good substitutions, good timing. Happy to have that issue.
SKC, they kind of lob it forward, and I can't really make out who was in the back to get a foot on it and just basically knock it over to the midline. And right here is where the play kind of gets choppy and a little bit dicey, but you still see the push on play. It's Anderson Julio, who loses his footing, does like a little 360, gets it back, gets a little touch, plays it up to Andres Gomez, and then Andres and Diego are just beelining it. And Andres decides this time, okay, I'm going to take it, and again, blesses us all with another beautiful chip. By this time, Kavincho's already losing his mind on his Twitch stream. I mean, this is something we expect from Andres Gomez. There's a lot of hype behind Andres Gomez, and he's certainly living up to that hype. I don't have any words. It's just a beautiful goal.
He's a special player. Even the Gomez between now and the beginning of the season, like, my God, who is this guy?
Yeah.
He's a special talent.
I mean, even go back to a year ago when he got relegated to the bench because he had a poor attitude, and Michael Chang was starting over him.
Yeah. Or how many times have we said he looks like when he's dribbling the ball, like, your entry level academy kid when you bring him up, right? Each touch is 8 feet in front of him. That's not the case anymore. He's just decisive, fast, quick, special player.
All these moves to bring in these amazing players who, they took some time to kind of find their footing. Look at what we have now. It's ridiculous. The best soccer we've seen. I think I tweeted it out, like they're just playing out of their minds. And this looks like a championship caliber team. I don't think it's too early to say that. 15 matches unbeaten. It's a new club record, single season record, right?
Yeah.
So all of this underneath the leadership of Pablo and the coaching staff. Josh, are you eating crow, bro? Because I mean, I think we're all guilty of it. Some fans too. I mean, we really went after Pablo. Probably not this season, but seasons prior.
I mean, I've eaten it all season, right? But like I mentioned a few episodes ago, Pablo isn't the same coach, man. This staff that Pablo now has underneath him, it's wonderful, right? You can tell they're a cohesive team. You can tell they're pushing Pablo to his limits, right, of what he's comfortable with and knows. And just like, being on the field and having someone coming for your spot, not to say that any of the assistant coaches are coming for Pablo's job, but to have guys constantly pushing you to make you better will make you better. And I think we're seeing the fruits of that.
When people ask me, like, why Real Salt Lake is so different this year, why they're playing so well, obviously a lot of credit goes to Chicho Arango, but really I think what makes the difference and why we're seeing this Real Salt Lake, it's that the changes to the staff, the changes in the front office, the restructuring that they did in the offseason in order to bring in these guys. That's why we're seeing the change in tactics, the change in the way this team attacks and plays, and why it's paying off so well for Real Salt Lake is those changes that they made to the coaching staff.
and we're seeing a variety.
Yeah.
In the past, we never saw variety, but this RSL team, you're not quite sure how they're going to come out and play, right? We're going to play 3 in the back. We're going to play 5 in the back. We're going to attack, let's be, for SKC's purposes, there haven't been a lot of games this year where we relied solely on quick balls over the top or through the channel to get guys on a break. That hasn't been something we've done all year, but we got 4 goals off that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it didn't feel like we were just playing like typical American soccer where we boot her over the top and hope.
No.
This was very clear and very concise.
Yeah.
Soccer. So
just moments of brilliance too, man. Just
right.
The way the guys were hustling to create turnovers, and then passes that you wouldn't even think would reach the feet of another player. It's just, dude, there was one that I can't remember right now, but I remember I texted the group chat. I'm like, are you kidding me, bro? Gavin Beavers, we got to go back a little bit too. So clearly we're going to start going into the back end of the goals, but Gavin Beavers standing on his head. A lot of shots on target. There's one specifically where he's fully stretched out, gets his right hand on it for a beautiful save. For me, Gavin Beavers has the right attitude. He looks great out there. Could his defense step up? Absolutely. And clearly this is probably an anomaly because we're now missing Justin Glad, right? But I think his distribution is good. Like, I've seen enough saves to rely on this guy. He's got a blocked PK against a veteran player who is very dangerous against Real Salt Lake. I'm a Zach McMath fan, but damn, bro, like I would love to see Gavin Beavers move up to that number 1 spot, and it's probably premature. What are you guys' feelings on that? Would you like to see him more? Or do we keep him in that rotation and have Zach be number 1 still?
Said this a couple episodes ago, but I'm ready to give him the number 1 kit. I'm ready for him to be the starter. We've seen in other teams, like in Inter Miami, where Drake Callender, a young keeper, stepped up, like FC Cincinnati, where a young goalkeeper stepped up, and they've been successful. It's worked. It has been good. I think Gavin Beavers can be that guy for us, given the opportunity. I love that he's getting the minutes and getting the rotation, but I think I'm ready to see Gavin probably take that number 1 kit.
Yes, I think he's getting there. But, there were some shaky times playing out of the back for Gavin Beavers, and I don't know if he's 100% ready for that full time. Clearly that would make him better at it, but my biggest reason is until the center back situation kind of settles down, I think I would prefer a more veteran presence back there to kind of help that along. Until we get a healthy Glad and Vera back together, back from suspension, or bring in another center back that's higher quality. No offense to Spencer, or Quinton. I don't know why I think his name is Spencer. Dude, I was talking to my coworker about this today. I cannot get the name Spencer out of my head when I think about that guy. So if I ever say Spencer,
he
that's
looks
what
like
I'm thinking.
Spencer.
It does. So if you hear me say that, that's what I mean. And I don't know what my problem is, but having a more veteran guy back there to direct that defense and kind of use that communication that I don't know that Beavers has down quite yet. Is my reasoning for keeping McMath at the number 1 for the time being. But you all know I'm a big Gavin Beavers guy, and I hope to see him with the number 1 shirt, by the end of the season.
That's a very fair point because, I mean, in this one especially, I think Philip Quinton put him in a lot of questionable situations, and I don't know if it's because Quinton's new, he's still gelling with the team, he's still learning, especially when he's the moments that he's played and the minutes that he's played, he's had different center back partners and even played right back in some matches, right? So I don't know if it's still just getting comfortable, getting used to this team or what it is, but Philip Quinton definitely had some questionable moments in this one.
So 61st minute, we see a few substitutions. Oviedo for Catranis. I guess I'm saying this in backwards. So Catranis comes on. Luna comes off, and then we've got Matt Crooks. Obviously kind of shifting some pieces. Josh, you were saying that this match was ready for Catranis in the group chat.
Yeah, Oviedo was gassed. He was done. Very slow to recover. He was becoming a liability because the legs weren't quite there anymore. And, I'm a big Catranis fan. I love Oviedo, but if you can bring a Catranis into this game and become that much more dangerous while still being steady in the defense, I'm all about it.
He's one of the highlights for the next goal that comes from SKC because Catranis was there, but I wouldn't say that was his man to mark. There was a little bit of criticism from the broadcast.
Yeah,
but again, plenty of space, and I know Catranis is kind of trying to shift and provide the coverage.
No fault to Catranis on this. More fault to Tavera for just missing the header, right? So as soon as the ball goes over Vera's head, Catranis is in panic mode and is trying to shift over. Just a poor judgment call and poor read of the ball by the center back there.
So scoreline moves 2-3. And Alex, this is where you were saying panic starts to set in. Josh, is panic setting in for you? Because I think right here is when we start to maybe think, okay, things can go differently here.
I wasn't feeling great because we had the dudes on the pitch, right? And couldn't seem to possess the ball. SKC was really pushing it down our throats at this point. So, I'm getting a little nervous because why are we allowing SKC to stay in this game? Which leads me to my biggest gripe about the game. This RSL team has been so good at putting teams away. So why on this night were we so willing to let SKC hang around? You know what I mean? That's my bigger gripe because SKC is a bad team. They're good at attacking, but they're a bad team. Not really a team you want to let hang around, especially if you want to be the number one team in the league. So, yeah, that was my biggest concern. But yeah, I'm starting to sweat a little. It's getting a little too close, a little nervy. And the guys looked they looked nervous too.
I think for a majority of that second half, that Real Salt Lake kind of stalled out. I don't know if they were already confident that especially being up 3-1, I don't know if they were confident they already had the 3 points in the bag. I don't know if it was a tactical shift in kind of moving pieces around. That kind of really made the difference, but there was definitely a stall out for Real Salt Lake in the second half, and we see it after the third goal, after Real Salt Lake's third, because at this point Kansas is just bombarding with attacks. It does seem that for a majority of that second half, we were already comfortable with the result, and I think in this league you can never be too comfortable with the result.
But again, I'm hoping that this is one of those learning moments for RSL, kind of like we talked about earlier in the show, where they realized that after the game, right? You could see it on their faces. They were just relieved it was over, right? So hopefully they take that to heart and really realize that, the game goes 90 plus. You got to play for all of it because a lot of teams in this league they'll make you pay.
Yeah.
Good or bad, they'll make you pay.
Just like Kai Kamara all of a sudden playing for LAFC and drawing an equalizer, which was really weird. Alex was stunned to find out that Kai Kamara is still playing, and all of us actually were pretty stunned too.
I had no idea.
Yeah, we got that notification. Matt Crooks, guys, first MLS goal. Clearly, that would make his first goal for Real Salt Lake. I think that we had seen some moments of frustration or just not gelling. I think at one point we even kind of questioned his attitude, but Chicho gives him some beautiful service, lines it up, beautiful header, puts it away, celebrates fresh back from a wedding. Do you think that this is the goal that unlocks more goals to come? Is this the confidence builder?
I think getting the wedding over is going to eliminate all the stress, and now he can play freely. So yes, I think we're going to see more of Crooks now that he's opened up his account and is feeling good.
I think the biggest issue I have with this goal is just how absolutely terrible the Sporting Kansas defense is. Chicho Arango. You know what he does. You know what he can do. And you leave him completely unmarked inside the box. And he just has all the time and space in the world to just set it up beautifully for Crooks to get that header. Happy for Crooks. Fantastic that he finally has his first goal. Like Josh says, I hope this really opens the floodgates for him. But, man, that Kansas defense just poor.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but after Gomez forces that turnover and gets the ball to Chicho, it ended up being like a 3v1, did it not? Because there was no one back there with Chicho and Crooks.
there's two defenders in the box, but there's really one that could have marked Crooks, and he's literally out in la la land, dude. Like, he's no help to the goalkeeper. Wide open header. It's pretty pathetic.
It's poor. Look, we've talked about it before, where Kansas have had guys like Russell, who for so long were carrying the team and were so good in this league, but they're old. They're aging. They haven't replaced any of the aging stars. We can say probably a lot of similarities to Seattle, where they just have these guys who, yes, at one point they were tearing up the league, but time comes for these guys, and you just haven't replaced them. How long was Zusi an average player for Sporting Kansas, and then finally they let him go this past season? But how long were we getting average performances from Graham Zusi?
Years.
And they just never replaced those aging talents, those aging stars. And I think that's why Kansas is the way that it is. Plus, you got a team that's decimated with injuries, who spent so much money on bringing in this incredible number 9 in Alan Pulido, but he hasn't really played. He's been out for so long. He's been missed so many games for this team. And I think that's the issues of Sporting Kansas. It just seems like mismanagement from the Kansas side.
And I'm all about it. Keep doing it, KSKC. Peter Vermes for life.
There is some to worry about. Or LA Galaxy paying a visit to America First Field. I feel kind of shaky going into it. I mean, they're going to have to review some tape and really call out some defensive mistakes so that we don't see that. Because we know Galaxy's a pretty decent team. All the way till the final whistle, there was a lot of anxiety. We got really, really lucky. Somebody paid their tithing on time, because at the very end, there's a shot on goal, hits the post, goes off of Beaver's back, and luckily there wasn't anyone there to pick up that goal, and he just dove on it and secured it. If we would have seen a 4-4, that would have been absolutely shitty. There's no other word for it. Now that we've seen the byproduct of Justin Glad not being there, and then we're going to be losing another piece, how confident or not confident are we putting up a decent fight against the Galaxy?
You know, I think we'll score some goals, but I think the streak ends Saturday.
Whoa. At home?
I don't know, man.
Who's going to defend these guys?
That's true. He's got a good point, man. As you know,
LA Galaxy, they're not a bad side, and they're pretty damn good going forward.
I think it'll help out a lot that Ricky Puig is most likely going to be unavailable.
Okay, that changes things.
No, so knock on some wood. He's come back from a groin injury. Let's hope he's still out for our sake. But look, I think, we go back to the game against Chicago, where we were in the same situation, where Justin Glad was out, Vera was out, and
we're talking about Chicago, though.
Who's going to defend?
Talking about Chicago, Alex. Talking about Chicago.
I think we got to give the benefit of the doubt to Hidalgo and Oviedo, who did well enough in that game.
Talking about a 13th team versus a number 3 team, dude.
Give the benefit of the doubt to Bodie Hidalgo and Oviedo.
Listen,
you're talking about
Gavin, who also started that game.
You're talking about a -9 goal differential, dude. Versus
look,
the Galaxy.
plus you're at home. Rouse Lake have a newfound confidence at home.
Dude, I haven't been to a home match all season because I had other commitments, and I've been sending Isaac to go shoot the games. For as well as we're doing, I'm not stepping foot into that stadium. I'm not going to be the reason that we lose or that the streak goes sour. Like, if we're good, I'm not stepping foot anywhere near that. But from what I've seen on TV and the highlights that I've seen, America First Field, man, is starting to kind of get reminiscent of those old Fortress days, dude. It's packed. It's loud. We got stupid fireworks when we come out. I mean, it's just bumping, dude. And I wish I could go, but at this point I can't, because now I'm superstitious. Do I think we have a shot? We
absolutely have a shot.
We absolutely have a shot. Yes, we have a shot.
But don't be surprised if this is the game that the streak ends on.
Do we need to do another universal call out? Do we need to do a good vibe?
We lost after that, so that's bad. That's bad mojo.
That's not bad mojo.
We lost right after, literally the game after.
No, we didn't. No, it was like 2 games after.
It was Miami.
Oh
no, because we did it after the St. Louis game.
Yeah,
And we
Yeah.
won the game after St. Louis.
And
I
then
refuse to
and
participate.
then we have a record season streak, bro, after we channel all of the positive vibes in the universe. Okay, listen. I know we're up against a few unfavorable pieces being missed versus the Galaxy. Would I love to see Justin Glad? Absolutely. Would I like Avera, even though he may have had some mistakes? Yeah. You want your squad to be meshing. But right now, and I'm going to knock on wood, is we have a powerful attack. And we've got something freaking special. And this is even excluding Chicho, okay? Chicho's like on his own island because I believe that Chicho can do it with anybody. But we have Diego Luna on fire, Anderson Julio on fire, Andres Gomez on freaking fire.
Don't forget Mekanelli and Brian Ojeda.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Don't forget.
Everyone's on fire, right? So I think that we have every opportunity to win this match, but we're going to have to really fight for it, and we might have to fight harder than we fought at SKC.
The guys filling in at center back, they just have to be on their game. They need to not be trying anything special, right? Basics, clear the ball, find the easy pass, keep your positioning, and they should be okay.
They need to sync up. And
Yeah.
I hope, Pablo has a conversation with them, pulls them aside, whatever they do to really have a strong, unified backline and just say it. Hey, guys, there's a lot of pressure on your shoulders.
I think we also have to point out that at the Galaxy, at that game at the Galaxy, Vera was also suspended for that one. He was unavailable. And yes, I know Glad makes a huge difference, but defensively, they were 30 seconds away from stealing 3 points in LA.
Yep.
If we can get anywhere near that performance that we had against the Galaxy at the Galaxy, now here at home, I think we'll be all right.
They're a scary team, but I don't think they're that scary.
I'd agree.
They're not that
Pooch makes a huge difference too. You gotta talk about Ricky Pooch in that midfield, how much of a difference he makes. And if he's unavailable to go this weekend with the groin, I think that's gonna make a huge difference in the attack for the Galaxy.
Dude, these guys want it, man. They know what it takes to win. They're dialed in. And I especially love how Diego talks about it as, job not done, dude.
Yes. Yes. And I think that's incredibly important because for the players to come into the games and have that mentality of, hey, yes, we might be number one, but we haven't done anything. We haven't won anything yet. I think that's super, super important in order to stay competitive.
Mm-hmm.
Guys, if you want to catch more of the Real Salt Lake Show, follow us on KSL Sports on all social media. Follow us on Match Day. We post a lot of content, a lot of highlights. We got the whole radio and the TV side doing things for us, guys. KSL Sports is the one and only place, the best place for all of your Real Salt Lake content. Thank you guys so much for listening. We love you all, and we'll see you at America First Field this Saturday.